sunny afternoon right here from the city of Johannesburg, South Africa. My name is Soji Akinabi, and this is Africa Perspective on Africa Business Radio. What do we do on African Perspective? Africa Perspective is a platform that we have created where we have thought leaders and, of course, influencers across the continent have them share their opinions with regards to doing business in Africa and other issues that affect Africans, in and abroad economically. This afternoon, we have the honor of having somebody all the way from the United Kingdom. I'm going to be introducing her very, very soon. But of course, before we get into it, we had to let me just quickly run you through the list of Commonwealth countries, in Africa. Commonwealth is about one of the largest, can I say NPO or NGO? It's been on for a while, and of course, a couple of African countries are members of Commonwealth organization. We have Botswana, Lesotho, those are from the south. Botswana, Lesotho. We have Namibia. We have also Sierra Leone from the west. We have the Gambia. We have Cameroon, Malawi, Nigeria, South Africa from the south again, Uganda from the east. We have Ghana, we have Mauritius, we have Rwanda, and we also have Swaziland, Zambia, Kenya, Mozambique, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, and of course the Seychelles Island. So this afternoon, like I said, I have the honor of singular honor of having somebody all the way from the United Kingdom. She goes by the name Alexia Thomas. She's a learned fellow. She's a British human rights, of course, of African descent, and she's also the chairman of the Commonwealth Liberation Party. Hello, Professor Thomas.
Yeah, hello there.
How are you, ma?
Yeah, fine. First of all, let me introduce myself very well because you've not introduced me well at all. My name is Professor Alexia Thomas. And I should be addressed as Her Knowledgeable Professor Alexia Thomas, and I'm the chairman of the Commonwealth Liberation Party, an opposition government in the United Kingdom. And so that's observation. And then I also did hear you talk about the Commonwealth as an NGO. Well, first of all, the Commonwealth, that's also another error because the Commonwealth is not an NGO. The definition of the word Commonwealth means that a unilateral union government coalition. These bodies, these nations within the African continent and some part from the Asian continent and some part from the Caribbean continent simply means that these are countries colonized by the British Empire. So the British Empire is an empire that is that the government structure is monarchical and parliamentarian. So in the early 15th century, the monarchical government of the United Kingdom, where the parliamentarians then had not been enacted to be a body to make laws for the people of the empire. So United Kingdom as an empire has set their aristocrat, they've set their men into the soils of the African nation to go colonize them and bring civilization. So they had ruled them from the 15th century to the 19th century until the nations of the African felt that they think they are civilized enough to govern themselves. So at that point, from 1957, the British Empire felt that there was a reason to start giving independence to all the nations that they had colonized. And that is so when independence was initiated and conceptualized, it was felt that there was a need to give them independence and let them rule themselves. So in the course of ruling themselves, they had formed an association for them, which is called the Commonwealth. So the Commonwealth nations would mean that countries within that nations are countries that has been civilized and by the United Kingdom government. And in that Commonwealth Union, the Queen of England will normally sit with them every 4 years, which is what they call the Commonwealth Inaugural Assembly, which they assembly every 4 years to review what the Commonwealths are doing, how they are doing, and what they are doing, and if they are doing well, and if there are issues to be discussed with the empire that brought civilization to them, they are able to talk in that inaugural assembly every 4 years. So that's it.
All right. For the clarification with regards to your what Commonwealth is about. All right, let's get into it. Tell us about your party, the Commonwealth Liberation Party. Tell us about the party and what inspired the formation of the party.
Well, first of all, well, I'm an oracle. I'm knowledgeable. I'm the biggest knowledge on earth in this century. I'm a philosopher. I'm a humanist. I'm a law reformist. I'm a philosopher. And I'm a politician. Now, I have. We first of all saw that the British Empire has failed the Commonwealth nation because they gave them. The Commonwealth nation actually thought they were fighting for independence, which you could see the likes of Mandela, who fought for independence of the South African people. But much as the whole world has recognized Mandela as a hero, I didn't actually I recognized him as a failure because if he was fighting for the freedom of the South African people and he got locked up in prison for 27 years, that means he wasn't smart enough. So coming out of prison after 27 years, every person in that generation is already dead. So even when he was released and he became a president, because you can see the lives of the South African people are so damaged because they've not seen civilization. There's so much there's so much that has to be done in terms of the human reasoning. So first of all, the error is from the British Empire because much as the Commonwealth nations thought they were fighting for independence and independence was given, the British Empire, I think it was premeditated, actually gave them sovereignty. They did not give them independence. Sovereignty simply means the free will to do your thing. So if what's your president? Is this Jacob Zuma? Is that the president of South Africa?
You're correct.
Yeah. So if Jacob Zuma was to kill 1 million South Africans right now, the colonial master is going to say, do your thing, you can kill them, I don't care. But that is not what it's supposed to be because they gave them sovereignty, they did not give them independence. Independence simply means unlocking the code of knowledge. The British Empire, the British master who colonized the Commonwealth people do not use constitution. And if they don't use constitution, they use words of authority, they use court judgments, they use a statute of authority. The Empire of Great Britain today, great men have lived, great men have died, great men have spoken. Well, like I always said, I blame God for creating the black in the midnight because I don't understand why there should be white and black in the first place because the blacks are not intelligent, and I blame that error on creation because God was not fair to the creation of the black race. The black race had not seen civilization, much as the white man quested for their land to harness gold and treasure, but the white man to a point tried by bringing civilization to them, at the cost of a compliment of steal from their treasure and give them an insight of knowledge and in terms of dignity and self-realization. But the white man has been very, very unfair to the education of the colored people. I love to use colored because Commonwealth consists of the Asians brothers, the African brothers, and some of the Trinidadian, the Jamaicans, who are actually the slaves who after the revolution of industrialization, the white man felt there was no need for them anymore because slavery has been abolished and they didn't know which land to dump them, so they had come dump some in Jamaica, they had dumped some in Sierra Leone, and they have dumped some in Liberia, But the truth is that the Commonwealth people never had independence. They only had sovereignty. Sovereignty means do your thing. So we as a Commonwealth Liberation Party felt that there was a need, first of all, in terms of governance and politics. The politics of this era do not have an ideology. It's very sad that even the South African people, much as they fought for apartheid, I've seen, when you look at the picture and the flashback of apartheid, the South Africans fighting for their own independence, fighting for their freedom, you saw that a lot of them were massacred, a lot of them were killed. You know, they were killed because they did not understand the white man's reasonology, and the only way they could fight back was aggression, rebellion, you know, and that's what the white man loves. So the more you fight for aggression, the more you use aggression and rebellion, they kill more of you. But with the Commonwealth Liberation Party, like the name signified, the Commonwealth Liberation Party, the Commonwealth Liberation Party is a party set up to assist, to be a voice for all the nations of the Commonwealth. So there are 54 countries of the Commonwealth. If you take away United Kingdom, take away Canada, take away Australia, that now gives you about 51 countries of the Commonwealth. But apart from the 3 countries of the Commonwealth who you think that there's civilization, even though most of those countries, blacks are still living there, and the white man is still being unfair to them because the civil rights organization is actually not active in the Commonwealth nations. Civil rights organization is really active in America because there are a lot of blacks are so dominantly, densely populated in there. But in the United Kingdom, there's no civil rights organization because the white man would have, it's using what is called the legislative confraternity. You know, legislative confraternity is when injustice is chartered as a law and the voice of justice is silent. So the white master makes a law. You know, the law, legislative confraternity is an accord that puts a man to death. You know, so the Commonwealth Liberation Party has been set up to be a voice for the nations of Commonwealth, to be a teacher for the nations of Commonwealth, to teach them the mythology they lack, to teach them the political reform, to give them the education that will make them understand that politics is about the ideology. Every time you vote a leader into power, forget all the promises, what they're going to do, what they promise to give to you. No politics of this era has an ideology. And when the president is coming into power, you know, he promises you heaven and earth. He actually has nothing to give you. He's actually coming to be your money manager. So when you're voting people into power, the first thing you must understand is that what goes on in their head. What goes on in their head is actually voting into power. So if you vote them into power, what goes on in their head is what they are coming to create and use to rule the people. But the truth is that all the nations of the Commonwealth, we are going to be compelling them to actually be killing constitution, because the colonial master doesn't use constitution. The nations of the Commonwealth cannot use constitution. First of all, the constitution of the Commonwealth nation has been wrongly interpreted, because the constitution says that when a government becomes destructive, it is the will of the people to abolish it or to abort it. Abolish will mean a new election has to be casted. Alter would abolish or alter. Alter would mean that another political party can be allowed to rule the people. So the Commonwealth nation is a treaty alliance commission for the nations of the Commonwealth. We expect all parties in the Commonwealth nation to see the Commonwealth Liberation Party as a mother institution to see to their affairs and their well-being. So when they want to speak, do what they call a bilateral trade agreement. When you speak to the white people, yes is not yes and no is not no. But because the black man has been created to be more inferior to the white people, it's his nature, definitely. The white man speaks English, you don't even understand what they're saying. Jacob Zuma goes to the African Union Summit, he's signing agreements on behalf of the people of South Africa, and he's not that educated to understand the implication of what he's signing. So the Commonwealth Liberation Party, is a model institution for the Commonwealth nation. It's a treaty alliance commission for them. Is to assist them to see that they are sustained and well integrated in the global social market. So the Commonwealth Liberation Party simply is a party that is a teacher, you know, to assist the nations of the Commonwealth, you know, to fill in 80% of the missing puzzle which the colonial master, the British government, who gave them independence, did not give them that knowledge. So we are here to fill in the gap, to give them that knowledge, for them to be able to govern their nation and prosper their nation into the 21st century global justice, and putting them into a nation of prosperity. And that's what it is.
Thank you very much for that. Just to ask you, so that you be able to manage time together. Well, it's been said that Africa has attained what we call political emancipation, and the goal now will be economic freedom. Do you agree with that? And if not, What do you say?
No, Africa cannot. Africa have not emancipated. Africa had not. Africa, in terms of economy, it's nonsense. Africa has no economy. Africa has no economist. Africa is not an economic zone until the Commonwealth nation are able to sustain themselves. Until the Commonwealth nation are able to feed themselves. Until the Commonwealth nation are able to pay their citizens social security, that is when you can say they have attained economic sustenance. You could see that first of all, what is an economy? An economy simply means, just imagine your great grandfather. Let's flash back 200 years ago when there was no much civilization. Your father has to be able to feed his wife and his children. So they go to the farm, they make the farmland, they generate the crops, and they feed themselves. That's what is called an economy. So in your home, there's what is called home economy. Home economy means that realization in the family, that without the family having to rely on external source of patronage, they should be able to sustain themselves. So the economy starts from the home. Until the South African people are able to feed themselves, until the South African people are able to dignify themselves, until the South African people are able to cherish their human race, until the South African police stop killing the South African people, until the South Africans realize that the gun culture is a culture of human destruction, until Jacob Zuma is able to start paying every South African social security. You cannot, the African nations or the Nigerian government start paying their people social security. How could the South Africans, not have a job? How could you say there's no job? Because the government is dumb, because the government is not intelligent, because the government cannot create job opportunity. You understand? Every populated nation is nature's gift. You remember in the days of even 100 years ago, if you were a family of 15 and you were going to fight a family of 6, the family of 6 is going to run away, because 15 children in a family means that you guys are going to be strong, populated to defeat the other family. So in those days of our grandfathers, the richness of a home by how many children and how many wives the man has. How many children and how many wives the man has depends on how many farmyard how many crops they are able to get from the farmyard. So a densely population is a gift to nature. But when human begins to multiplication and production is a big achievement. But now, if the South African people cannot feed themselves, it just shows that the government is dumb. If Jacob Zuma cannot create jobs.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much. Let's move ahead. Do you have any former alliance or working relationship with the Commonwealth organization?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in alliance. Alliance is an act of cowardness. When you have knowledge, you have the world. When you have wisdom, you have authority. Because men of wisdom are men of great. Being rich and being a billionaire makes you actually nothing, because you're just rich in piece of paper. But being great and having wisdom and knowledge to make so much impact in people's lives, like I said, humans are treasure. Until every government begins to treasure a human, then that is when such government is appreciated and dignified by us. Now, first of all, our values are put to the people. They know our values, they know what we stand for. So it's left for them to find us. You don't go finding them, because they'll continue to fail and kill themselves in their waste. So what the most important thing is that the good name is spreading there, our good work is spreading there. So they have to come for us. But if there's a need for us to come for them, it now depends on if we are invited. Because if the people of South Africa think, okay, for example, Jacob Zuma doesn't know what he's doing, and they want him to step down, they will want to champion it by rebellion, by demonstration. That's not going to help them, because a demonstrative crowd is a crowd that is a noisemaker, because nobody listens to you. You want to demonstrate, and you want to demonstrate, the police are there to shoot you and kill you. So if the people of South Africa doesn't like their president, they should approach the Commonwealth Liberation Party, who's going to guide them on what to do. But like I said, first of all, the African economy has to be sustained. The African nation has to be sustained. The government of Africa should start paying their people social security. The white man pays social security. It's not a favor. It's not a must. It's a mandate. You understand? The economy of the Commonwealth nation belongs to the Commonwealth people. So Commonwealth government must pay their people social security. Any government that cannot pay the people social security has to disband automatically. It's not going to be a constitutional affair, and that's what it is. So we are there, and I think you should sing our good news to them. Let them come and meet us. We are the wizard of knowledge, and for the first time we want to bring them into a new 21st century revolution of where they can be able to help themselves as a nation, and that's what it is.
Thank you very much. All right, let's move ahead. Talking about the Commonwealth and of course Africans living abroad, Africans living outside the shore of Africa, what are the common economic problems facing these people?
Well, there's no economic problem. The economic problem simply means that when you leave the comfort of your home and you go abroad, you're a stranger. And going abroad, you're actually going abroad as a servant. Because you're not just going to come into my house and be the king of my house. You come in and you're standing at the door of my house. You're going to first of all beg for me to allow you in. So it's when I let you in, then I limit you not to be able to go through the whole houses. Because if I let you go through the whole houses, you're gonna take my home away from me. So every African person who's gone abroad, they've gone abroad as economic migrants, and then because their government is failing them, their government cannot cater for them, and that's what it is. But the truth is that nobody actually really want to live abroad. Everybody want to be sure they can come and they can go, because when you go abroad, it's what is called knowledge exploration. You're going there to see if you can better yourself because your country is not sustaining you. So coming abroad, well, they come for a walk, make money, make an income. I think the international policy reform is not in the favor of the Commonwealth people. It is actually abusing their rights, because there's what is called marriage confraternity. You go to a lot of countries, they tell you the only way you can settle down in these countries, you have to be married to their citizen. That is nonsense, because there's no African migrant who leaves the shores of their country, come abroad, who doesn't have a wife, a girlfriend, or somebody. But when they come abroad, because the country thinks that if you leave their country, you're going to be going with all the money you have labored for. Even though you've worked as a slave and a servant to do all the odd jobs and earn the money, they are still not happy to watch you take the money away. So they bring in the marriage act of residence, where you are happy to get married to their children, to be able to allow to stay. But as you tie yourself in the marriage act of residence, which is a confraternity, that becomes the end of your own destruction, because you begin to marry their wives and their children, and you begin to have babies. So when it's time to go back to your country, you cannot take anything, because you would have used all your savings to pay the woman's house rent or the woman's children's house rent. So that Africa and their settlement in abroad, the economic situation is not created to better them. It worsens their situation, because no African migrant actually wants to go abroad to marry. So the fact that the marriage act of residence is a marriage confraternity legislation, that is actually the worst problem the Africans are facing internationally when they travel abroad, because many of our brothers who've been traveling for the past 70 years, you hear stories, oh, my uncle has left, he's not come back home. You don't know that they've used the marriage act of residence to confraternize him to death, because he's not coming home, because he's married one crazy woman in that country who is not going to let him go. And even though he wants to go, he has nothing to show off. So you find out that he's stuck there with the woman, even if he never loved her from the first place. A lot of relationships start from infatuation. You're actually infatuated, you know that you actually love the person. But with the marriage act of residence, when they begin to born babies for you, your life is stuck. So Africa and their migration and the economy, I think that most countries in African nations, like the Malaysia and other countries of the Commonwealth, I think that there are other institutions representing the Commonwealth or in all international aspects of the world should actually fight against the marriage act of residence. The marriage act of residence is a confraternity that has killed the futures of all the African migrants. 100% travels to abroad. With the marriage act of residence, 70% gets married to the white people. So you find out that they're not able to return back to their country to rebuild their country, because the money they could have brought back to Africa to rebuild the future of their own dependents is taken away from them, because this government of this African Commonwealth nation, which is really the white man, like the Australia, the Canada, and the United Kingdom, they bring the marriage act of residence, which is a serious occult. You get to marry their citizen, and that is the end of your destruction. You're never coming back to Africa. So if that aspect can be aborted, if that aspect can be abolished, whereby people just come to countries, they're allowed to work, because don't forget that even though when they work, they are like slaves and servants. Why would you not let them take their money out? If you let them take their money out, I don't think many of our Commonwealth brothers are going to be resident abroad. That's it.
All right, then. Thank you very much. My last question to you, as a registered party in the UK, what are your agenda for the next 5 years? What are the things that you set out to do for the next 5 years?
Well, the agenda, first of all, is to bring education to the people. Because first of all, when the white man came to all the countries of the Commonwealth, like some countries that they said, like the South African countries, the South African was never a civilized nation. The white man came there, and I think the white man who came to South Africa were actually the offshoot of the British brothers who came to Africa. And then when it was time to call them off to come back home, they've loved this land so much, they don't want to leave the South African land. They build their settlements, and then fortunately, even most of the white people are lost in South Africa right now because some of their British brothers have rejected them. Because when the apartheid was called off, many of them didn't want to come back, and many of their forefathers, thought the British ancestors who settled in South Africa had given birth to a lot of South African white mixed race. Where you see that even when the white man in South Africa speaks English, you just know that the English has been. The English is not clean like the pure British English. So first of all, our agenda for the people of the Commonwealth, first of all, it will be education, because first of all, how do you even build interrelationship when the people lack education? So we first of all are looking at education from now till March of 2017 to first of all make sure that the people actually understand English is not English. The current English being spoken is broken English. That's why you find out that there's so much trouble and tension everywhere. In the sense that we don't understand ourselves. So we are trying to teach this 21st century the power of philosophy, mythology of politics and governance. So until the people are able to understand our language. If you go to the YouTube, I'll tell the people to watch Democracy Death, an Act of Politics Bet, because we are looking at destroying democracy, putting democracy to rest in the coffin, and initiating the act of politics. And if we initiate the act of politics, instead of using constitution, we introduce the bill of politics. Act of politics to replace democracy, and the bill of politics to replace constitution. So as a party, the first thing we are going to be focusing on is education. We still have to, like I said, they got sovereignty, they didn't get independence. Independence is unlocking the code of knowledge. I have unlocked the code of knowledge by introducing the International Bill of Patriot Mandate. So the International Bill of Patriot Mandate tells the Commonwealth people their right, their sovereignty, their authority, their impunity. It tells you everything. So that is it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us. We're gonna try and see how we can have you back on the show, and of course we'll discuss more.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right. All right then.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.